Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over how you can spruce up the look of your charts in Excel by using colors and specifically gradients. So in this example, I've got a chart showing McDonald's restaurants over the years, both their franchise and company operated accounts. And right now it's just a simple looking chart in the sense it's got just a plain white background to it. But let's say we wanted to make this look a little bit more interesting or help it stand out a bit. So what you can do to get into the chart settings, right click, format chart area, and then now we've got our window here that shows us all the different fill colors we can use. And so if we just wanted to put a solid fill, we could just put in a yellow color, let's say, right? But that's, maybe a bit too plain as well. What we can do is use a gradient. So we can do a mix of colors. But before we do that, one thing I'm going to do is fix these grid lines. Because right now these grid lines kind of are a bit distracting because they're gray, and if we're going for a yellowish color to match the brand, I kind of want to make this a bit more transparent just so it doesn't stand out. So I'm going to increase the transparency, make it a light gray color so it really fades into the background, so it's really subtle there, so that way it's not taking over and not standing out too much. And so now what I'm going to do is select gradient fill, and what a gradient fill allows you to do is put in a mix of colors. So here's how it can work. So you can adjust these different stopping points here to determine where you want the color to stop and start. So let's say in the example of McDonald's, we want to use a yellow color. So perhaps a dark yellow on the outside, then it goes lighter yellow, and then darker yellow towards the bottom. So to do that, I can select my first stop here, and then change the color here. So I can select yellow, and even though I'm not going to use this bright yellow, it's a good starting point, because now if I click on this and click on more colors, if I go over to custom, I can just use this slider to go pull it down and give me a darker shade of yellow. I don't have to fumble around going through finding which one I want. I just go to custom and then just basically look for a darker version of that. So I hit OK, and now we've got our darker yellow, and I'm going to use the same color at the end here. So I'm going to select this last gradient, so stop 4 of 4, and for my color, it's going to remember my recent colors that I've used. So I've got the dark color on the outside, the dark color on the inside. Now I'm going to do my area in between. So here I'm going to select this second stop, and I'm going to use this yellow color. Right? So now if you adjust this, you can see the gradient moving, right? Because depending on where on this line you've put it, that's where that color is going to be. Now, I may not need this other stop here because I'm just going to go from dark to bright to dark. So if I don't need it, I can hit this X button to remove the gradient stop. If I decide I do want it, I can add it back with the plus. But as you can see, by doing that, I have more control over how my gradient works. So it goes from a darker color to a lighter color. If I wanted to make that transition earlier, I can adjust it on this line, right? So we have a nice look and feel to it. Now, you may not want to use a darker shade or a lighter shade of yellow. Maybe you just want to go from black to the color that you want to focus on, right? Just so you get a bit more of a transition, a bit more contrast, right? So there we go, straight black. Here's another black one we'll do on the bottom side. And one thing you can also change is the gradient presets. Right now you can see it's going diagonally, but let's say we want it going from top to bottom. Now this is the direction. That's the one we want. So we can have it going from top to bottom, right? So linear downs. And now it's going to be a bit more, it's going to be going up and down. So it is a bit different of an effect. So as you can see now, we've got the dark, essentially it's almost like a dark border around it. And so it gives us a bit more of an interesting look and feel to the chart, as opposed to, when we just used a darker shade of yellow to a lighter shade of yellow. Now, the one thing we probably want to do in this case is change our font color. So for the title, Let's use a white color, right? So it stands out a bit more. Same for the labels here. Make them white just so it stands out. And similar here, we may want to use a white color. So you can see you just may want to maneuver the gradient a little bit more, or change the color slightly to make sure that it's still readable, because obviously that's the most important thing with charts. You want to make sure they're readable. You've got a right mix of colors. But as you can see, with using a gradient, it gives you a much more dynamic looking effect. I like going from the black to another color back to black, just because it gives you that almost like a window look, where you got dark on the outside and then your lighter color on the inside. It helps put emphasis on that. So using gradients can be an easy way to make your charts stand out a little bit more than just using the plain white background, or just using a solid color. And obviously you can play around with the direction that you want to use, or the number of stops that you want to use. But basically, using a gradient, I think, is a great way to enhance the look of your charts. So I would encourage you to test it out and give it a try, because it's one way to make them look a little bit different than the same old chart. If you like this video, thanks for watching, and please make sure to leave a like and subscribe.